My cheating ex-wife went insane after seeing I have a better life and begs for me back. Full updated story. I was with my wife for half my life, almost 40. I never thought she would leave or cheat. I really did love her, but it wasn't perfect. We had friends who cheated, and she would always say she could never imagine being with anyone but me. A week after our almost 10-year anniversary, she went to visit her parents. The warning signs were everywhere, but I trusted her love for me. She had the signs of a dry addict, never worked for years, personality disorder, always right. Would have guys and couples messaging her about sex and hooking up. She would say they annoy her and was just being friendly. Would ignore the sex talk. I should have known better, but she really think you know someone after 15 plus years. She called me every day, but the day before she called to break up, she didn't for days. I knew something was up, and when she did call, it was gaslighting. Demand that I get out of the house that day. Lied about wanting kids for almost 10 years. The threats would keep coming. After a few days in police calls, she finally showed up to talk. It took some convincing, but I found out she messed around. She lied about the drugs, but I found them in her bag. She was also in a chat group where I saved the videos and texts. It disgusted me. It was the most bizarre behavior I've ever witnessed. I got the separation done in 24 hours thanks to my job and family friends. The fighting afterwards was rubbing in my face what she did with other people, ordering me like a slave to do certain things, trying to belittle me. I've had health issues which she tried to suggest was drug-related. It wasn't, it's stress and trauma-related. She was forced to move back home over 5 hours away, but it cost me the place I was living in, my pet, which I loved more than myself, and I'm back with my parents for a few months, so I'm not alone. I have a great job and supportive friends. Everyone has told me I look much better since I left her, but it feels like people are just being nice. I don't know what happened to her. She never even cried. At one point, I thought I broke through and we could work it out, but she went for a drive and when she returned she was back to being cold. I even found out she wanted me out of the house so she could have the disgusting people she cheated on me with stay over. I'm not dating. It feels too soon and like I'm cheating. But I'm trying to start a new life. I joined the gym. I get out every day whether it's a drive or a walk. My friends have been supportive. I have her blocked on everything because my blood pressure would spike just seeing her name. But I wish I could get over the anger. I can't because she's not even sorry. I just needed a vent to be honest. The one person I thought who would be there forever treated me worse than anyone in my entire life. She keeps trying to act normal and be friends, but not after what she did. I wish I could send her an email telling her everything I feel, but it would fall on deaf ears. I'll be getting rid of my wedding ring today. Holding on to it is holding on to something that I know will never happen. My relationship was a lie. I wish I could get over the anger, but I can't. How the F do you stop caring about someone you've known for half your life? Update time. I've been doing better. Gained weight. Gym 3 days a week. Managed to luck into some money. I'm going to meet new people, but it's hard on my age, almost 40. But my ex-wife has hell-bent on getting the last word. I received a letter from a lawyer, a cease and desist. I never had to be signed for, had no date to reply, and was basically about her ego and for me to stop telling people what she did. Most of it was lies. The best part was the amount of grammatical errors and typos. The lawyer is real, but from what I can tell, he hardly gets work and only sent this to make a few $100. I didn't bother replying. She wanted her reaction, and I wasn't giving her one. A few days later, she began harassing a friend of mine and gave her a pet too. She doesn't know her, but made it clear she was concerned about the animal's well-being. She never cared about that animal, wanted to get rid of it the day she told me things were over. It feels like a petty move to try and prove she can get away with what she wants or pretend she actually cared. Luckily, my friends will never talk to her. I'm hoping to send soon. I'm fairly convinced she has a borderline personality disorder. She's on a lot of medication, drinks, smokes a ton of weed, and stays up all night talking to other jobless weirdos. I want to move on, but she only cares about her self-image, to the point where she'll spend hundreds on a crappy lawyer just to block me from doing anything about her talking to my friends. I know she's unwell, but I hope she gets a life or a rude awakening. Any advice or words of encouragement is appreciated. Update 2 pointless rant, I guess. Back to me back. I can't believe some of the ridiculous crap they ask for when it's over. No less than a day or two after D-Day, when she realized money doesn't grow on trees, she asks if she could still borrow the car of your weekend to go get groceries and run errands. This was after trying to kick me out of my own house, costing me my pet, which I loved like a child, bragging about messing around with other people, and having her friends threaten me. She would also demand I lift boxes or dishes and place them in certain spots as a means of control. Not asking nicely, pointing and demanding I do it out of nowhere, asking to borrow equipment and tools, etc. Not sure if anyone experienced something similar, but it's something to look back and laugh at now. Makes me realize what they're really like when you're not something they want. Next update: as much as I tried no contact, we had mutual friends who feel like gossiping. Today they told me my ex-wife is in another relationship. Didn't need to hear that or want to. As glad as I am to be away from that toxic cheating liar, it still feels like a punch to the throat. Leaving and saying it's to work on her mental health when obviously that wasn't the case. It feels like the final lie. This will be a hard few days. Edit. Thank you to everyone. Didn't sleep much last night, but everyone's advice and input helped. Next update: I haven't posted in a while. Been 4 months since my estranged wife went scorched earth on our lives. Eating, abusive, threatening letters, etc. I struggled a lot, concentrated on positive energy, but still suffered panic attacks whenever I was alone with my thoughts, especially at night. I made a post a few months ago about dating, asking if it was too soon. Thanks everyone for the advice. I went through with it, and I'm happy. Really happy. I won't go into too much, but we really connected. We love each other's opinions, always agree on what type of future we want to have, and I've never had sex as physically and emotionally fulfilling as I did with her. We talk every day for hours on end. I know some may think it's too soon, but we connect so well that we have no interest in seeing anyone but each other. It gets better. The end of a relationship only means you can start a new one. I still think about my ex, but without any emotional attachment. Just sad I wasted so much time on her. Sad that her new boyfriend could be a really nice guy and doesn't know what he's in for. But that's not my concern. I'm looking forward to ending this year, holding my new girlfriend in my arms, finally feeling like I have a purpose. You will get through this. Edit. Thanks for the gold. You people are amazing. I appreciate the support, as well as the concerns. I fully agreed that it could be too soon, but I provided a broader explanation in a comment below. This wasn't something I rushed into, but felt natural. We're both taking baby steps, but at the very least I can say it helped me realize how unhealthy my old relationship was, and there's something better out there for everyone. Final update. Almost a year later. I had my first child and she's in the mental hospital. Don't think my posts were memorable, but I figured I'd post again to hopefully give someone a bit of hope. August 2020, my male 38, wife, female 35, of almost 15 years left me. She had been chatting with other men, women, and other acts, which I discovered by going into chat rooms she enjoyed. She lied about wanting kids for years, then tried to turn her around on me saying I was using her for kids. She kicked me out, forced me to give away my pet, who was the closest thing to a child, and tried to destroy my life. Once so far as a cease and desist letter from a lawyer who never even bothered to spell check it for what basically said I'm not allowed to defend myself in private conversations with her. I never heard from her after September 1st, 2020. She was mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically abusive, but it hurt. I was lost, felt like my life was just waiting to end. Even contemplated speeding it up. Late October, I posted about seeing a girl I knew. It was a 50-50 split of people saying I was too early to start dating, but I went for it. It's been a roller coaster, but we were still together, and a few weeks after my divorce was finalized, I welcomed my first child into the world. My life has changed in a way I never thought was possible a year ago, and it's refreshing. My ex-wife? Earlier this year, she called me on a private number. She informed me she was in the mental hospital, that she tried killing herself, and that she was diagnosed with bipolar and BPD. I warned her and her family she had it during the breakup, but they really had killed me. She started telling me her pity story, and then proceeded to tell me about the guys and girls she's loved with. I believe it was to fess up and have a fresh start, because she asked about getting back together. I told her right away, I was with someone and we were expecting. It hurt her, but she even tried suggesting she could be a good co-parent with me. I shot that down as well. Ever since we kept minimal contact for divorce proceedings and items we wanted to return to each other, I have zero desire to ever get back with her, even if I was single. My life is better without her, and now she sees that too. It kills her on the inside, and as petty as it sounds, I'm glad. She had no remorse for the family she destroyed. I have none for her regrets. So there, I know the feeling of post-D-Day. I know the emptiness, but it can get better. I never believed it was possible, but every morning I wake up with my beautiful child smiling at me and her amazing mother. Don't give up. I'm glad I didn't. Let's see how the community reacts with some comments and some more details from the OP. The Door Appreciated 54 starts us off. Followed her story from the first posting. Good for you. Your ex is not functional and has a warehouse full of baggage to deal with. Now she knows what her actions have gotten her. She is now alone and can have visions of you with your new family. I think around and making your husband feel like crap, then having your family slag him does not exactly buy you a great future. Now they can all remind her that she threw you away, and now you have a happy family, while she has nothing and nobody. The OP's response: thanks. I'm glad to remember my posts. I won't lie. Before she called from the hospital, I always wished I couldn't be a fly on the wall when she heard I was with someone and expecting a kid. Getting to tell her that, while she was in the mental hospital, felt good. I never wished harm on her, but I think I deserved to tell her she didn't destroy my life, just the one we had together. Funny thing is, her mother called me right after the mental hospital call, told me how she is doing so much better, and that my call helped. Then suggested I knocked up some random girl, and the timing doesn't make sense, trying to suggest I cheated, and somehow my girlfriend was pregnant longer than 9 months. When my child was born, she called again to congratulate me. This woman encouraged my ex's bad behavior and doesn't care about my life. She just wants to feel like she's a good person by supporting me. I just let her calls go to voicemail. Another quick comment from Spinocular. Congratulations, that's awesome to hear. Just one question. Who had been with her for a long time? When did you notice red flags that she might be BPD? Did it start like that? The OP responds. Maybe 5 years before D-Day? She was seeing the doctor for childhood trauma, going to groups, but I knew it wasn't that. Her behavior at times was just too random. I started to recognize manic episodes. The last year we were together, she was barely noticeable, took out a bunch of loans, could barely keep a friend of her longer than a few months, threatening to kill herself, etc. She was addicted to prescriptions and sent me illegal drugs. I wanted to get a new sports car because our SUV made her look old. I mentioned it to our family doctor, but nothing could be done if she was asking for the help. And she never thought she was wrong. It was childhood trauma and nothing else. The most heartbreaking moment was in the middle of the breakup. I told her this was a manic episode. She needs to get help. When she called back from the mental hospital, she acknowledged how right I was, but the damage was done. Not to mention she still has deceptive qualities, whereas she uses her illness to emotionally manipulate people to stay home on long-term disability. I wish I could have helped her more, but nothing I did would have changed that. If I was complacent, I think it would have eventually been an open relationship, to eventually her being with someone else. I think a lot of people believe they could have done more, but most of the time it's unavoidable. Last comment coming from Butter is Man Tequila. But where is your pet? Who has the pet? The OP closes us out. Great story. My cat was older, but she was a darling. Everyone loved her, but I had no choice and needed to give her up. A family member had a coworker say she was looking for a cat. I was nervous. I maybe deserved only the best. When she showed up at the door, the young lady looked like an angel. My cat is nervous too, but when she came in, they both bonded. My cat is older, so it's amazing she took her. Not only that, but she sends me pics all the time and spoils her. The worst part was hearing her cries when I put her in the kennel and scrubbing her fur out of everything, just so I wouldn't fall apart thinking about her. But I got lucky. She won a quite possibly the best owner I could have asked for. And I also gained a new friend.